Welcome to the Unarmored Talk Podcast, everyone. I'm Mario P. Fields, your host. And if this is your first time watching or listening on audio, welcome to an amazing show. That's my belief. And if you are watching on YouTube, again, welcome. If you have been with me going on for almost 5 years now, I always appreciate your support, your continued support. I don't know if you guys know this, but about 75 to 80% of podcasts fail, like they stop producing after 3 to 6 episodes. And you guys have been with me for 5 years. If it weren't for the amazing guests like we have today with Sheila Thelen and all the other previous 100 plus guests, why would I even have this platform? So God has blessed us. I'm thankful. And again, this is for charity. So every time you guys watch, subscribe to the YouTube channel, you share this content, it all goes to Still Serving Incorporated. That's www.stillservinginc. That's the website if you want to learn more about my nonprofit that just went over 7 years in supporting students in low-income communities, and that's Pitt County. Thanks, Sheila. Well, let's get to our guest. Ready to have some authentic discussions on the Unarmored Talk podcast. You guys know the deal. Her name is Sheila Thelen. Now, she is the founder and president of an amazing company called Vestibular. Let me make sure I get this right. Let me hold on. Training Services. I had to think about it. VTS. And I did some research, by the way. That is, and it's non-invasive. So I don't want to tell you how this is connected, but it's very, very interesting. But she's also a globally renowned, global, not world, global figure skating coach and more. Sheila, welcome to the show.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. I'm always honored to do these projects and such great projects. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. Well, let's just go. No, let's get right to it. Can you please tell the listeners and viewers a little bit about Sheila?
So I'm a figure skating coach, like it sounds quiet, but like I kind of call it trench warfare. Like I worked with everything. I worked from 3 and 4 and 5 year olds, the kid who bit me, the kid who threw up on me, like, yeah, oh my God, like trench warfare. But then all the way through Olympians, like you see them on TV, they've used my products, they've used my training tools. Because really, we're an old company. We're about a 30-year-old company
Mm,
in just figure skating. But the group is amazing. And I don't know if you've ever met any mini figure skaters,
mm-mm.
but they're special. They're phenomenal. They're organized. They're good decision makers. They're all these extra things in the world of sports that we started to notice. So really what am I is I'm really aware and I really ask a lot of questions. So like
Mhm.
my background, like I ask hundreds of questions a day. Why does this work and why doesn't this work? And why does this kid excel and this kid not excel? And why is this kid so smart and why is that one like struggling? And like all of these little pieces, I just started asking thousands and thousands of questions and which led to more projects and more companies and
Mhm.
more impact into the world and that we're really excited to be a part of.
And you mentioned impact. We're going to get to that, but I'm gonna tell you, I can't even skate. So I got to keep it real, everybody. You put Mario Pierre Fields, Sergeant Major, retired for you military folks in front of that, but you put me on some skates, and we got to call 911. In figure skating, good gosh. So I don't have a special button. You know what I mean? And from the youth to people at the Olympic stage. But let's talk about what you said, the impact. You don't have to do what you're doing. Um, what's behind the armor of the passion? Why? Why is Sheila helping folks through her company and more?
So, okay, it's funny you say that. So I had the skating spinning company. Like, oh, there's the harness and there's the spinner, and
Hmm.
like so I had this company for 30 years, and 10 years ago I started noticing different things in our sport compared to other sports. And so I started really talking to more coaches and more coaches and more coaches and who would talk to me. And I started noticing there was a difference in sports that spin and straight line sports. Like I just started noticing more and more things. And so I
Sheila, real quick, I would have never even looked at it like that. Sports that spin and straight line sports. That's deep. Because now I'm thinking figure skater, they spin a lot. I would
So,
spin myself out of the
it's
stadium.
funny you should say that because the military even talked to me about it. So I'm doing
Wow.
some small projects with the military. I'm just getting my feet wet with the military, but they were interested in the data of because really, especially women,
Mhm,
because they have so little data on women. The
mhm.
military does, but the difference, and really, the girls that go into the military are bigger girls. They're straight line sports kids. They're volleyball, basketball, track. They're straight line sports. Whereas the littler ninja group of like figure skaters and gymnastics, they don't go into the military. They're just small. They're
Mm.
small humans. And so I have this crazy chunk of millions of pieces of data on ninjas, and that's a whole new group, to the military.
Well, I like that because I'm 5'2", so I'm kind of a an oddball. So I should have went into the I should have went into the spinning sports. But so now you got this data, and now what have you started to do with this when it comes to as it pertains to those in the spinning and in those in straight line?
So the exciting thing is I'm basically spinning everyone, anyone with a brain. And I'm talking about everyone, like whether it's kids with autism, kids with concussions, ADHD, kids who don't stay dry at night,
Mhm. Yeah.
like that whole group of kids. Oh, it's
Mhm.
it's a struggle bus. On top of that, like aging and Parkinson's and
Wow.
fall prevention and concussions and Olympic athletes and performance based. And so I'm working with everyone with a brain, especially in the concept that a lot of people have brought forward the concept that rehabilitation and performance are the same thing. That's the same thing. It's not two different areas. And why we've split them up makes no sense. Performance and rehabilitation are the same thing.
Mm. And so have you what's some of the results have you seen, for this yeah, I have a diverse audience, so it doesn't even matter what age group. So, can you give me some examples?
So everyone, it's been that's the exciting part that I'm obsessed about, and I won't stop talking about to the point my family is so sick of me. Like,
How
my family is so sick of me because this is all I want to do. It's all I want to talk about. We'll be at the airport, and someone's like, "So, what do you do for a living?" I'm like, "Oh, come on in. Here's some videos." I'm that person that's a lunatic in airports and post offices and the dry cleaners, like all I want to talk about.
And that's the hallmark of passion. That when I facilitate some of my employment workshops, I talk about that. You cannot send anyone to the University of Passion. You can have all the skills on earth and the degrees and certifications, but are you passionate? And I applaud you, Sheila. That you're passionate. What could bring someone to you? In other words, like what's something that I could experience? I'm going. I want to go see Sheila for this. What have you seen?
So the biggest thing, and I do a whole thing. I love me some seals. Okay, I joke that those guys network like teenage girls. Okay,
Maybe.
like they network. Okay, the whole military really does network
Yeah.
well, which is kind of an honor to see because I started out with one, and now I've got seven, and now I've got 14, now I got 23. Like I have so many networked, you know,
Hmm.
active in vets, but also same thing in the world of ADHD. I got moms that networked the hell out of it. I worked with one kid, now I got 40. You
Hmm.
know, like it oh my God, so there's a lot of reasons to come to me. But the four biggest things that we talk about, because we talk about vestibular, like that inner ear, like
Right.
so that inner ear is your vestibular system. And so, but it manages like 30 major functions, but the four we talk about the
Wait a
most.
minute. Wait a minute. Hold on, Sheila. You said how many functions does it
That's
manage?
like 40. It's like crazy amount of functions.
Man.
Especially, and it's even things like abstract thinking, like comes from your vestibular system is where it all starts. So, which was fascinating to me. And 52,000 academic papers already published on vestibular. But the four we talk about, so the four you end up calling me about, because someone, either you or your family or your brother or your cousin or your own kid, it's balance, cognitive, spatial, and sleep.
Mm.
So somewhere in there, That's going to hit every single human. Okay. And it kind of hits everyone differently. But at some point, you got really bad balance issues. Something's going on. And with that balance issue, you got crazy anxiety because your brain knows it's not okay. Okay.
Mm.
Or you got cognitive. You're just not processing. Like it's almost like I call it like a waking dream or permanently drunk. Okay, like you're like, I can't process what's going on.
Right.
Like I'm just super slow. Like what's going on? I can't make decisions. Okay. Then of course the other group is spatial, and we always talk about like fighter jet pilots. Spatial. Like we've all seen Top Gun. Okay. Which way's up? Okay, but in the same sense, that's also my 80-year-old mom driving. Okay, like
Oh
it's
yeah.
talk about spatial. Okay, walking through a door, not slamming into it. Okay, like little things like that. And then of course sleep. And to be honest, the sleep factor is maybe the scariest of all of them because
Mm.
when you're not sleeping, that's a really scary group of humans. And I'm going to take a second and talk about like that's your suicide group. And I actually had the military talk to me about this. They talked about how the guys would go like 2 days with no sleep. Okay.
Mm.
No sleep. And then they've hit such a manic state, the military claims it's unstoppable. The suicide or the murder or killing the dog and themselves and the family. Like the story just keeps getting more and more horrific. Okay. But in the same sense, it is stoppable if you got them to sleep. Okay, you
Mm.
gotta sleep. Humans have to sleep. Okay, and there's all these new papers coming out on sleep and dementia and early onset Alzheimer's, and connecting things to sleep. Duh. Do you
Wow.
really need an academic paper on that? Yeah, when you're not sleeping right, you can't perform well. Duh.
Right. Yeah, and again, every show I learn something, and I love them because again, I would have never thought about the vestibular and how critical it is to the four components you laid out. Balance, cognitive ability, sleep, how to process information, and more. I would have never thought. Let me just double check this, and so if you had to look at everyone, looking back, for the years of you doing this, what would you say was your one of your most challenging moments looking back?
I have a bunch. Okay, and I have to tell you, I'm a sucker for a kid story. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Like I really come from 500,000 kids of athletes and coaches and kids and ice arenas and families and like I'm a really sucker for kid stories. Okay, like that really means something to me. I recently had one of my athletes that had already kind of left skating. She's already 20 years old. She's off to college and picked up a concussion that
Mm.
wasn't healing. She just wasn't healing after like 5 months. She just wasn't getting better.
Mm.
The mom calls me and they're like, "Hi, can we come back to you?" And I'm like, "Did you never left? For sure. Like, come on back. Like for sure. Like I always got you forever." And I think coaches really feel that too. Like coaches, like I know I coached you 12 years ago, but
Right.
back. I'm here for you. And I feel like there's a lot of coaches that are struggling to watch their athletes, especially in the football industry and other sports that they look back on how we treated those athletes back, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and where they're at now. And as coaches, there's some stress over that because we see
Right.
their athletes struggling. So my athlete came back to me and I have videos posted on it. This kid went from struggling to fantastic, 4 months later. And, once a week, 5 minutes, spinning with me, got her brain going again, got it all connected. And she's back, and I just have to take a second to tear up a bit because these are the things that matter. And as coaches and as parents and as mothers and fathers and society and caring, like to see someone get their life back,
Yeah.
this
It,
matters.
it's
Mhm.
in, in my neighbor, her daughter is she's in eighth grade, and literally she just made the softball team, and just yesterday she told us we were outside. She said, I got hit in the head. I got a concussion. And for me, before this episode, I'm going, man, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully you recover. Now I'm going to send this episode to my neighbor. Yes, and say, hey, here's some things to look out for. Here's some other resources. But the beauty of Sheila of having you on, because I'll talk to you all day, like every guest, is your passion. That's the main reason why everyone I wanted to host Sheila is her passion. You see how passionate she is. Find your passion, everyone. I don't care if it's going outside and taking out the trash can. Be the most motivated trash can taker outer in your entire city. But Sheila's passion has just blown me away from the first time I met her. And so, Sheila, before I ask you in this discussion a final question, how can people find you?
Oh God. Well, I love LinkedIn. Okay, that's where I almost connect to everybody. Do use a lot of LinkedIn because it's my favorite. Of course, we're on Instagram. We got a website, spinyourbrain.com with the little linky things, like we're on Facebook, like whatever. Don't really care. LinkedIn is my favorite. I'm a big texter, like I got kids, I know how to text, like so. Yeah, so I feel like there's no way you can miss me in this world, especially on LinkedIn.
That is so cool. So, as I let you go in here in a minute, there's so many people that I've seen that are in their passion, and you can see it. It doesn't matter what they say; it's how they behave. And I can see it through you. I mean, like again, my computer's shaking. See that? See it shaking. But if you're not on a YouTube channel, go ahead and get on a YouTube channel, watch it. The screen shake. What advice could you give to anyone that watches or listens to this episode about pursuing their passion, regardless of what people say or don't say or whatever?
Okay, so it's funny you say that. So when I expanded my company, especially 5 years ago, now remember, I'm like number one in figure skating. Okay, like, oh, yay, figure skating. Ah, yeah, I got that. I really got that. And I had a bunch of buddies be like, you know what? You should stay in your lane.
Mm,
Figure skate, just stay in your lane. Okay, don't do this. You're not a doctor. You're not a PT. You're not an OT. You're not a lot. You're not a PhD. You're not a doctorate candidate. Like you're not all these things. And I remember thinking like, yeah, I get that. I get I'm none of those things, but if I have something that could help the world, why wouldn't I step
wow.
forward and take that challenge? And I'm going to tell you too, a lot of people are not cheering for me. Okay, like I got a whole group of people they're like, "No, no, just stay in your lane. You should have just stayed in figure skating." And I have a whole batch of people they're like, "No, no, no, no. You're just a skating coach." Okay, I get that. Yeah, I am. But I help a lot of people with concussions, and I help a lot of kids with
Yeah.
ADHD, and I help a lot of people not fall, and I help a lot of people get their lives back. And so you know what? It's okay that I don't have a huge cheering section from not the world isn't cheering for me. Like I get that. But don't expect that. Don't expect that. And I'm even gonna say my own family, it always cracks me up because some people call me a genius. Okay, which is sweet. I love it. What a kind thing for someone to say. And my family always like boos them. They're like, no, no, she's not a genius. But when NASA called me a genius on one of their events, I was like, even the husband was like, oh, really? Maybe she is, So it's funny to see your family because you see people as like, this is what I was and this is what I am. Okay. But we can all be something else and we can all do things to change our world and our communities and our families and to step forward with leadership that matters and changes the world. And the attitude of let's go change the world is the attitude I went forward with without trying to sound like a lunatic for saying that. But
Yeah.
that's the goal of our company. Like we want to change the world in a
Great.
non-invasive, easy way, rebalance people. It's your vestibular system. Like all of
Yeah.
these pieces, we can do that. So like I challenge people to go forward, go change the world, do something you care about, help someone. Because the best way to help yourself is to help someone else.
I love it. I love it. And everyone, if you didn't catch it again, just imagine if Sheila didn't listen to everyone else saying, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Think about the human impact that she may not have increased around the world. You guys know the deal. Let's not try to change the world individually. What can we do together to make a positive impact while we're on this earth? Sheila, thank you so much for appearing on the show and blessing us with your passion. I truly appreciate you. Everyone, you guys know the deal. In the next few weeks, we'll come out with another episode of a guest who's willing to have an authentic conversation with Mario P. Fields on the Unarmored Talk podcast. But until then, I will continue to pray. May God continue to bless you, your family, friends, and all living beings around you. Sheila, take care.